Organization and from the Africa CDC. We are working with the countries extensively to build the capacity that is required in the areas of transportation of vaccines, storage of vaccines, training, establishing vaccination centers, and of course, managing the waste and also tracking people that have been vaccinated so that they can come back and receive their second dose. Vaccination on the continent of the size of Africa, which is a continent of 1.2 billion people, will be a historic effort that has never been observed in the history or since Africa became independent, since 1960. So this is a historical effort that will require all kinds of partnership, partnership with the community, partnership with the private sector, partnership with the traditional donors, and partnership, of course, with the whole of society approach so that we can do this quick. In order to be successful, we need to achieve a 60% target within 2 years. If we do not do that, then COVID becomes endemic on the continent. I think that is extremely important. So that discussion is so tools were launched. We roll out a tool for what we call an implementation guide to support countries to begin their vaccination programs. As you have heard probably in the news, COVAX also announced yesterday that they will raise the doses. They have secured enough doses that are now exceeding the 20% that they had previously stated for the continent to about 27%. We are grateful for that. We as AVAC continues to explore additional doses of vaccines. We heard also yesterday from the coordinator of AVAC, Mr. Strive Masiwa, that an additional 400 million doses of vaccines have been secured through the Serum Institute. So if you add the 400 million doses to the 270 million doses, I think we are beginning to make very, very good progress. Let me just conclude by saying that we are very pleased that Kenya has now adopted the Africa CDC Trusted Travel Portal to verify COVID laboratory tests for passengers. I think that is a very much welcome initiative. We strongly urge other countries to follow through. We have been working on this initiative since October, and I'm pleased that Kenya has taken the lead on this. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the strong partnership between Panabaus and the EcoNet that have been working with us very quietly in a sustained manner to enable us to get to where we are. Africa CDC is also working with the Tony Blair Institute and the IATA to enhance the technical operations and integration of the several platforms so that we can have a coordinated and standardized platform to monitor trusted testing across the country. Thank you, Wayne, and back to you.
Thank you very much. In a number of questions, but for now, I'll give you the first two. So he says, initially, it was anticipated that nearly 250 million people across Africa will catch the coronavirus during the first year of the pandemic, and that up to 190,000 of them will most likely die. But it looks like this has not been the case. So the question is, what is the possible explanation for this? Then the second question, why should Africa take the vaccine, yet it is the least affected continent? So those are the two questions, the first two questions from Silence Mugadzaweta.
I think Silence is asking very tough questions this morning. And I think the first question is really a question that we all have been trying to explain for the last couple of months. I think we know that during the first wave of the pandemic, we were not affected the way that it was projected, and this is thanks to a concerted effort across the continent, efforts led by our head of states, efforts led by the African Union Commission and Africa CDC and WHO in coordinating activities across the board If you recall, Silence, that when this pandemic just hit Egypt on the 14th of February, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Chairperson Moussa Faki, convened a meeting here on February 22nd. So at that time, we had only 2 cases on the continent, and ministers of health came. We had a very good discussion and developed a continental strategy, a joint continental strategy. And so ministers left Addis Ababa on the 22nd of February with clarity of actions to take. And when the COVID started showing up on the continent around the last week of February and beginning of March, they did just what we had agreed to do. Your country, Zimbabwe, actually took extra measures. They declared a state of emergency where there was no COVID case at that time. So those early measures helped to blunt the virus clearly. If you take a country like South Africa, if they hadn't gone into a quick lockdown, where they only had 70-something cases in that country, their pandemic would have been where the UK is today. Okay, but because they were doubling every 2 days. So because of that, it stretched that doubling time there. So I think we should always remember that the leadership of the continent, with strong coordination from your public health agency, the Africa CDC, WHO, and with strong leadership from the countries, made a difference.